Warm welcome, Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch, Astrological Book of the Hours. It's the last day of the year, the 31st of December, and this is the chart for today to show the changing moon position. The moon shifts from the sign of Leo to the sign of Virgo, and it does so Middle European time around 1 o'clock midday. And as the moon shifts to Virgo, it meets Lilith over there in Virgo too. And we have another opposition from moon towards Saturn in Pisces, which is, of course, the pushing up of medical madness. Because this axis in between Virgo and Pisces, is always trying to go that direction. But then on the other hand, what is positive and what might be usable is as moon shifts to the sign of Virgo, we have a grand earth trine from moon to Jupiter. And as you see, Jupiter just lost his little R for retrograde. He's standing still today, but standing still, getting ready for the direct motion. And the other parts of the grand earth trine are, of course, the Sun in Capricorn and still Pluto in Capricorn too, because that's where he's still in. The earth trine is good for grounding, for realizing things that should be stable, and we shouldn't leave that to the bad guys. Just the good guys can do it too. The tools for getting this done have a Lilith influence at the same time. Lilith in the sign of Virgo is like a piece of charcoal on a clean, fresh, washed towel or something like that, a white towel or whatever. It must not necessarily be bad, as anything in astrology is not necessarily bad, but it's usable. Usable in a sense that if things appear to be too clear, we might well ask, well, is that the whole information? Do we know everything about the clean washing that is been done today and over these days? So this is the grand earth trine coming into charge midst of day, Middle European summertime. And then Venus changed her position from Virgo to the sign of Sagittarius, and she's in a square position today to Saturn up there in the sign of Pisces. And both of them are ruled by still standing Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. So this is one of the main themes for the next year. Changing charts, I'm just going to show you a special moment this morning that occurred to me in my kitchen. It happened to be interesting enough. We do have one of those electric water cookers, and it just blew up at the very moment when Mercury just was in the rise, and he had a perfect aspect to house 4, which is ruled by Aries. And in fact, I'm in the apartment of a lady who's been born in the sign of Aries, but this is to show you what Mercury retrograde in kind of an angry version is able to do, because this is about electricity and blowing up things without reason. It was one of those good water cookers. It should have a security thing in it and everything like that, and just made popped up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Used to work for 2 years, and things like that are magical. So of course I looked up the chart and I saw Mercury retrograde, still retrograde, almost still standing also that is the case. And this is always something like that, is magic is knocking on the door, and there must be an angry force of electricity behind that. And the third chart I want to show you is the chart for Middle European time again, for the change of the year. New Year's chart. One thing is the calendar, and the other thing is astrology. The calendar is actually not very interesting for astrology, because the calendar needs astrology to be set. You know, astrology is the real calendar, and dates and numbers. So you can change them any way you want. Any ruling person does that, and we in Europe experience the change of so-called normal time and summertime every year. It challenges people very much. No one wants it. Everybody, they promised to take it away again. Then we had an interruption from 2019 on, and they kind of forgot it. So it's just going on. Time is the time setting. Who's setting the clock? You know, those of you who spend their youth with Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny have an interesting perspective on those questions. But anyhow, this is a social date in a sense, because everybody is celebrating out there. It's 12 o'clock at night, and it's the change into the new year, so it's an important event. And of course, the grand Earth trine we've been talking about is the aspect in between Moon and Sun, in between Virgo and Capricorn, is almost exact, and those Earth planets just make the Earth trine complete. So we could have the idea that if this is a forecast chart for 2024, there are two things remarkable for Middle Europe, because you have the rising sign Libra, which means Venus is the one who's ruling the whole scene. What is Venus doing? Venus is right here in house 3, in the sign of Sagittarius. So she does a combination in between knowledge and wisdom. But she forms a square to Saturn at the same time, which is of course the situation of dissolving structures. You know, Saturn in Pisces is like a boat on the sea. You know, it's not really stable, because it can't be in water signs. So there's a contradiction, and of course Venus squaring Saturn is also explaining the world's financial situation. You know, they have some plans with the financial systems by overloading them with printing money, and of course that's coming next year. We probably will not have a real chance to avoid it. This is what they are actually doing. Libra rising, though, is not without hope, because at least it's not Aries rising, it's not Mars rising, and but at the same time Libra has a signature of the past. It has the South Node in its area, so this puts a flavor to Libra. The flavor is South Node, which means negotiation seemed to be a thing of the past, but they shouldn't. But still, Venus is on the rise, and Venus is not Mars, so there's some hope in that at the same time. And we see hope also in the idea that the Sun in Capricorn at the same time is down there, but there's not too much hope in that, because this is always the case at charts being made by midnight. All right, so maybe this grand Earth trine is usable for private building up things too, and maybe that is even the sign of plant an apple tree. If somebody does a prognosis about the end of the world, plant an apple tree. Do something stable for the future. That's a good chart for that, and I wish you the very best for 2024. If you like to get in contact with me to find out what Mercury retrograde until the 2nd of January, close to standstill, does, just pick up this email address. Time, date and place where you were born is important, and down here at my blog site you'll find the conditions for a consultation. Thank you very much for listening. This is Markus Termin at the last day of the year. Astrologisches Stundenbuch. See you next year.